Today's meditation is on John chapter 18. When they came to arrest Jesus in the garden, they knew they were not facing an ordinary man. Judas had a contingent of Roman soldiers and temple guards with him. They carried blazing torches, lanterns, and weapons. But as mighty as they were no match for the King of Kings, and could never have taken him if he hadn't surrendered himself. Jesus knew what was going to happen, and stepped toward his fate unafraid, and asked who they were looking for. When they said Jesus of Nazareth, he replied, "I am," and the power of his statement threw them back on the ground. I'm sure at that moment they realized their weapons were useless, and Jesus asked them again who they were looking for. When they again said Jesus of Nazareth, he replied, "I told you that I am he." Then he told them to let his disciples go. Peter, in his attempt to protect Jesus, cut off the ear of the slave of the high priest, but Jesus told him to put away his sword. He was ready to do the Father's will and to suffer. He suffered in my place. He even had compassion on the slave and healed his ear. They arrested Jesus because he let them. Like a lamb, he was led to his slaughter. Peter and John followed behind. Since John knew the high priest, he was allowed into the courtyard, but Peter stayed outside the gate. I cannot even imagine the fear and confusion the disciples must have gone through. The others were scattered, as Scripture foretold. While Jesus was questioned in the courtyard, Peter was questioned outside the gate. 3 times he was asked if he was a disciple of Jesus, and 3 times he denied it. Immediately a rooster crowed, and Peter, who swore he would never deny Jesus, realized he had done just what Jesus had said. After being tried by 2 high priests, he was taken before Pilate. That was the only way they could have him executed, the only way he could die on a cross, as prophesied. But Jesus wasn't afraid of Pilate. He wasn't afraid of the world, because he didn't belong to it. His kingdom isn't an earthly kingdom. If it was, he and his disciples would have fought to keep Jesus from being arrested. But his kingdom isn't of this world. Jesus was born and came into the world to testify to the truth. I love the truth, and I recognize that what Jesus said is true. Pilate found no guilt in him and tried to release him, but the people asked for Barabbas instead. A murderer and insurrectionist, traded for the man who knew no sin, so he could become sin and save me. Until next time, be blessed and be a blessing.